Hello, my friends. This is Andy Falco Jimenez coming to you live from Yorba Linda, which is one of the cities that are in the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District. And the most important thing is to remind you that there is a school board meeting tonight, Tuesday. There is a difference in time, though. There is a public session that starts at 5 o'clock. I just learned before I went live. I'm so glad that I didn't put in the graphic to show up at 6, because I was going to do that. But there's always those little changes that occur that I don't know. So there's a public hearing at 5. If I'm not mistaken, the public hearing is on one subject, and I had the information of what the subject was, but it's on my other computer over there. Oh my gosh, it's an important one, so make sure to be there. But if you're going there to speak, I believe it'll still be at the normal time to speak. The public time to speak will be after 6 o'clock. So at least that's what I understand. I haven't seen all the answers yet. People have been asking the same question. There's people that I see that are flying in and they're arriving at 6 o'clock. They got other stuff going on. Yeah, it was so much better when it started at 7. No, it was for me. I could be wrong. If you're watching this or watching the replay, let me know what you think. I just felt that it was so much easier to get to the 7 o'clock hearing. But I have kids that are at all kinds of places. I had a lower third that said father of 6 kids. Well, I have 6 kids, and they are everywhere. And on Tuesdays is a busy night out of all the nights for there to be a school board meeting. But I have one kid in Yorba Linda I have one kid who is in Yorba Linda at the jiu-jitsu place there on Yorba Linda Boulevard. And then I have another kid at the same time who is in Anaheim at a Muay Thai place for kickboxing, and they contradict with all the time. So you don't need to hear my problems. I'm just telling you that it's at 5 o'clock tonight is when the school board meeting starts. Public session starts at 5 o'clock. Again, that is for a special hearing on one of the subjects that's in front of the school board right now. And then at 6 o'clock, the normal session will begin. And as far as I know, then the public session will be after the Pledge of Allegiance and some words that are said by each one of the school board members and the superintendent. So that should all remain the same. So I'm encouraging you to be there. There's a lot going on in the school, in spite of us having a majority of parents on the school board that simply want to educate our kids and aren't interested in any of the other nonsense that's going on. And in spite of having a new superintendent who feels the same way and is a parent, and then he just hired a new assistant superintendent in the human resources area, and I would look forward to meeting him tonight. So make sure and be there. There will certainly be some other people that have lost their minds that are going to be coming in and yelling and screaming that they need more pornography in the schools, that they need boys to dress in the girls' locker rooms. And some of these are parents. Some of these are teachers. Some of these are people that visit from other areas for God knows whatever reason they are coming. I know that Chapman University and Cal State Fullerton have their leftist people have been sending students over there to get extra credit. And so I know that has happened in the past. So who knows who's going to be there, but it's just really kind of odd that we have actually, I mean, there have been parents, and I know this, you may find this shocking if you're watching this, but there are parents that show up there and speak that are saying, no, we need more of this in our schools. We need more of the pornography. It's just really the oddest thing. I don't understand. And so they will be there tonight. And again, I don't know who else will be there or who else. What other teacher is giving students extra credit to come there and try to push for boys in the locker room, boys to compete against girls in girl sports, to more of the other nonsense that I know that our school board and our superintendent are attempting to get out of our school. What I want to read to you before we sign off, because mostly what I want to let you know is that the school board meeting is tonight. It starts at 5 o'clock, but then we have normal session at 6 o'clock. And then if you want to speak, which I would encourage you to do so, on any of the subjects that are, that you think are important, that you would do that. We have that teacher who was teaching inappropriate sexual content to students at El Dorado High School. That has been addressed and is being addressed by our new superintendent, Dr. Alex Chernis, and took immediate action. I believe the teacher was suspended. And but now, and again, this is a parent is upset that the student videotaped the teacher doing this, and she wants the teacher or the student arrested. You really, no, it's just, I mean, I know it makes no sense. The student did a service to the parents and to the school board and to the district superintendent, but yet there's a parent out there who says, oh, the student should be recording the teacher. Well, I have news for you. I'm going to be really working hard to push for cameras in the classroom, so we don't have to worry about students doing that, having to feel the responsibility to do that. We as adults should be taking care of the children. We should be protecting them. And one of those things that we can do is by putting cameras in the classroom. I know there's been some concern that it might be illegal. It's only illegal for somebody to record the teacher without the teacher's permission or the school district or the principal's permission. But when you put cameras in this classroom that are from the school district and with the school's understanding that it is required by the school district, that issue is wiped away. And so the school district can do whatever they want. The school can do, at least as far as the principal is concerned, can do whatever they want when it comes to videos inside the classroom. So the only law in the books is when somebody that's sitting in the classroom who's not an employee of the school district or is not there with the permission of the principal to record a teacher teaching. So that's the only law in the books. And I've done a lot of research. I've talked to people that are in the know. I've read the laws, and that's where we're at right now. I'm talking to a couple camera companies that do this type of thing, and they also said no. We know it's not illegal in California for the school district to put cameras in the classroom. All right, I want to read you from this book. It's called The Marxification of Education. It's by James Lindsay, and it's really important. I think you need to hear this one portion. Actually, it's about 3 or 4 paragraphs, so I hope you don't mind me reading this to you. But I think it's important for you to understand as to how it is we got here and how long it took for them to do it. And so you have to be in this for the long run. This isn't something, as you know, as I've said several times, I've been at this now, I believe it's about 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. So about 3 years doing something I did not ever think I was going to do, and that is be somebody that would attend school board meetings, even though my kids go to school. I just thought it wasn't necessary. I thought the school board members had to be people that were interested in having our kids educated. Boy, was I wrong. It's just the opposite, which I'm going to read to you right now. But it's taken this long just to make a difference in this one school district. There's lots of other school districts that are still lost. You got the Orange Unified School District that's going through some hard-fought battles, and they're trying to remove one of the school board members who just got elected. You got Temecula Valley School District, who's going through some craziness down there like you wouldn't believe, and they're being attacked like crazy. And then you have Chino Valley School Board, which is doing pretty good. They're very similar to us here at the PYLUSD. That we think that we have the majority of parents understand that that it's important to simply educate our kids and get rid of all this other nonsense. So I think that you'll find Chino Valley is, I think, similar. Sonia Shaw is somebody that I interviewed on my show that you guys have met before, and she's doing an amazing job with their other colleagues that are over there in the Chino Valley. So let's get to this book. It's called, again, The Marxification of Education by James Lindsay. You should get yourself a copy so you can read what it is that we're going to be up against over the next several years. But it's the introduction is what I'm going to read, and it's called The Theft of Education. Much of the theory and practice of education pedagogy employed today in North American schools is derived directly, with certain contextual updates and modifications, from the work of a Brazilian Marxist radical by the name of Paulo Freire. While Freire isn't exactly a household name in the United States, he is a household name and figure of educational legend in all North America colleges of education. So is his approach, which is called critical pedagogy or critical education theory. In colleges of education throughout North America, in fact, Freire is revered, and his work is considered virtually sacrosanct. It has accordingly been incredibly influential. Because of his incredible sway in North American colleges of education, Paulo Freire is recognized as the third most cited scholarly author in all the humanities and social sciences by authoritative metrics. It exaggerates none at all to state that Paulo Freire is at the theoretical center of everything happening in colleges of education today. And from there, our nation's schools. A succinct way to phrase the consequences of his influence on education is that our kids go to Paulo Freire's schools. What this means is nothing short of the left of education. Something that looks like education remains, but it is no longer education. He's got that right. It is political brainwashing to see the world on the side of the oppressed. So central to his views is this transformational of education that Freire's magnum opus bears the description of it in the title. It is the pedagogy, of the oppressed, in which educators and learners together are instructed to die and be resurrected on the side of the oppressed and into a faith in permanent struggle. Students are transformed into learners who learn virtually nothing except two things: how to view the world from the standpoint of the oppressed and how to denounce the dehumanization conditions of the world, as seen from the perspective in a way that simultaneously announces the potential for something better, period. The mechanism for this theft of education was straightforward and the mechanism for the theft of education was straightforward and generational. Capture and transform the colleges of education, mold a generation of teachers, program every generation of students thereafter. Colleges of education were captured almost entirely to the Freirean approach by no later than 1995. And the intervening quarter century has been enough turnover of the teachers to have fundamentally remade our schools and thus education itself. Kids still go to school, but the school isn't school anymore. The teachers have been replaced with activists, and education has been turned into consensitization, the process of seeing the world from the so-called standpoint of the oppressed. So sorry, losing my voice again. I don't know why this only seems to happen on this show, where I lose my voice, but it does every time. So this is something that I've been talking about each time I get up to the podium, not each time, but several times I get up to the podium. It really does seem that the teachers and at least the old school board and the old superintendent and the administration that was in charge really were simply focused on how far can we go in brainwashing the children of the PYLUSD that they are oppressed. How is it that we can then change the grading system and push it down so that the standard is so low that they virtually become uneducated, and then that will allow us the opportunity to then brainwash them, because it is much easier to brainwash an uneducated person than it is to brainwash an educated person. And so for the last several decades, unbeknownst to the many of us who live here in the PYLUSD area, I've lived in Brea and in Yorba Linda, which are both in the PYLUSD. And when I wasn't involved, I again did not know, but I did not realize that this has been going on, that it slowly, step by step, inch by inch, based on the Marxification of education, is that this process of reducing the education, reducing the standards so that nobody can catch on. Kids are still getting A's and B's and C's, and yet less education is happening Because when you're teaching less education, it only goes to reason. And we saw this, and we heard even one of the superintendents, her name's Edmondson. She's, I believe, Australian or from New Zealand. And we kept seeing that she would have the below standards, below 50% in education, below 50% in regards to math and reading and writing. And nobody was disturbed by it. At least nobody that was on the school board and nobody in the school district. And then one of the things that, what we're going to do is we're going to reduce some of the standards, she said at a meeting, not more than a year or so ago, so that more people can pass. Like, they just say it right out in front of you. And this is the process. It's the incremental reduce education, reduce the standards so that nobody really realizes, because when they get home in the morning, all you see is A's and B's and C's, not realizing that the children are not learning what they learned the previous year, because then they got A, B's, and C's too, but the standards were higher. Now you've reduced them down. Now they learn less, but the grades are the same, and nobody knows. Nobody knows the difference. It's the same thing that they do in these liberal cities, where the law enforcement agencies and the city council members vote to take laws and reduce them to something that they're not anymore. So you take petty theft and, actually grand larceny, better. It's better from the grand larceny standpoint, is that anything below $400 was petty theft, which meant that anything above $400 was grand theft. So what they want to do to give the idea that maybe the city is a lot safer, at least in regard to theft, is they increase it to $900 to the limit of petty theft. So now you have more smaller crimes that no company prosecutes for anymore. So they don't bother even taking a report on it. And so they don't bother even putting it in statistics. So now with a limit of $900 to be now the start of grand theft, you have thereby reduced the number of thefts, especially the number of grand thefts, because more people are now saying, hey, I can now steal up to $700, $800 and these stores won't prosecute me. As a matter of fact, they'll let me walk out the door. And then you hear on, stations like Fox News and some of these other ones that they say, well, look, for the first time in 10 years, thefts are down, 30%. No, but that's because you changed the law. And so now, of course, they're reduced down to 30%. They do the same thing with education. So they've been doing this for years. We heard Edmondson, who needs to be fired, by the way. I don't know if she's been fired yet, but I'm hoping that she'll be fired soon. That we need to get back to the basics of education. When we see here in the very first chapter of this book, or not even the chapter of the introduction, where the title is The Theft of Education, that is what the radicals have done. That's what the Democrats have done, liberals have done to our schools, is they've stolen education from our kids and from their parents, right out from underneath us, right in front of our eyes. And many times have even told us so, but we weren't really paying attention. And they just said, well, we tried to tell you, a couple of years ago, we told you we were going to reduce the standards so that more kids could graduate. And that's what's happening in that school in Texas, where not one single kid in a high school had the points, the grades to graduate. So they go back and they say, okay, well, the graduation's coming up in a couple of weeks. So what are we going to do? We don't have one single kid graduating. And so they had to do the same thing. They had to reduce the standards. It's not like they suddenly educated kids in a week, right? Don't believe anything they tell you. Oh, well, we gave them some classes and they were able to make up some scores and they were able to study a little bit harder for about a week. Wait, you had them for 4 years. You're saying what you couldn't do in 4 years, you are now suddenly able to do in 1 week. Why didn't you, if you had that power, why didn't you put that kind of effort, that kind of education into those children's lives when they were freshmen and sophomores and juniors and seniors? But suddenly, when you don't have anybody graduating from a high school class, from a senior class, and then in 2 weeks or whatever it was, that's a week or 2 weeks, you're able to do something, and they're claiming that they educated the kids enough so that now they could graduate We know that's a lie. But what they really did was lower the standard so that enough of them could get above that standard, and now they could have 100 kids graduate that weren't going to graduate before. And that is not education. That is the theft of education, as James Lindsay writes in his book. That's what we're dealing with. So again, just a reminder: today is the school board meeting. Starts at 5:00. That's the public session. Starts at 5:00 for a special hearing on a subject that's really important, but I can't. It's at my other desk and I can't get there. And then 6:00 starts the regular school board meeting. As I understand it, I could be wrong, but I'm just telling you what I somebody has mentioned that this is possibly the schedule. At 6:00, the regular school board meeting starts, and then about probably half an hour, 45 minutes into that, then the public comment section of the school board session will begin. And everything should go back to normal. I'm going to do everything I can to be there myself. But I'm encouraging you to be there. I got to juggle some kids around. They're all over the place. And so I might just be a little bit late, but I plan on showing up for a little bit. I have to fly to Maine in the morning. So see, this is how important it is. And so I have a lot of people. I'm going to say this one last thing. I'm so sorry. It sounded like I was going to sign off, but I'm not. That there's so many people that come up with excuses not to go to school board meetings. And I know I'm about ready to give you one, and I know I'm talking about them, but I'm trying. I'm not trying. I'm going to do everything I can to be there, and I will be there. But you have people that simply, you know what? I just been at work all day, so I'm not going to go. That's when I eat dinner. I'm not going. No, none of those things matter. Your dinner time doesn't matter. Eat before or eat after. You can hang on for a couple hours. I know that they last a little bit of time. Take a granola bar with you. Take something with you. Take some snacks with you because you can eat inside there. Just don't make too much noise, or also not allow us to eat in there. And be there. Take a little time off of work. Take some sick time. Get off early. I work from home, but my kids, I have them 50% of the day. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my day, and then every other weekend. I have them today and tomorrow, and then I'm going to be flying to Maine. So I'm going to be gone for 4 days in Maine. So this is the one day I have with my kids, and I'm going to spend it at the school board meeting. That's how important it is to go to the school board meeting. I may not stay there entire time, but there's no excuse not to get to the school board meetings. It's difficult. You have to juggle things around. You have to take off early. You have to use a sick time or a vacation time to get there. You may have to have somebody else pick up your kids or make some arrangements. It's not easy, but you need to be there. It starts at 5:00 is the public time. You got 6:00, which is the regular school board meeting, and then public time will be a short time after that. All right. So be there. Let's give them some support to our school board. Let's give some support to our new superintendent and the new incoming human resource superintendent. They would love to hear, that you appreciate them. So make sure that you're there to do that. And again, talk about any issue that you think is important. They need to hear it. They listen. I know for sure that the superintendent listens. I know for sure that the school board listens. And you may not get a reply in an email every so often, and you might not get one at all. But I'm telling you, they're paying attention, and they want to know. They want to hear from you. And make sure and show up. All right, my friends. That's it for me. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.